we really need to talk about Temu because it is extremely problematic. Everybody wants to get a bang for their buck, everybody wants to save some money, and sometimes that can lead to people going to websites like Temu to purchase products. Now, if you haven't heard about Temu at this point, I'm a little surprised. Temu did only start back in September of 2020. However, since then, in less than a year, they have become an incredibly popular online store. They've grown so incredibly fast because they are posting ads all over the internet. They are sponsoring content creators and influencers to do partnerships and haul videos. They also use a really wild, almost kind of pyramid scheme-esque mobile game method to try to get users to refer new users to their mobile app, and we will talk about that in a little bit because it's a wild thing for a mobile shopping app to have. If you still hadn't heard about Temu up to the point of watching this video, Temu is basically an online store that sells all sorts of things for incredibly low prices. I was actually really shocked looking at Temu's website because it does seem that they kind of sell a little bit of everything. Like, you can find the wildest stuff on this app, but also just a lot of like super common products. Now, the main draw of Temu is definitely their super low prices, to the point where their tagline is actually "shop like a billionaire," pointing to the fact that their prices are so low you can afford to buy a lot of stuff. I did browse the Temu website for a little bit just to see what kind of products they offer and what their prices are looking like, and I found things like $8 AirPod knockoffs, a lot of clothing around the $10 price range, and also just a lot of very gimmicky looking junk, usually for around the $20 or below price range, although they did have some items as well that were over $20, but not very much. I think the most expensive thing I saw on there was probably around $50, so definitely not too expensive. But $50 is definitely on the higher end for Temu. Right off the bat, I do think Temu can very much be compared to Wish or Shein, which are both websites that are very much known for selling a lot of cheap products that typically, you get what you pay for. They're not very good products. Shein in particular is known for selling very cheap, low quality clothing, and it is also very well known for being problematic for a lot of reasons, and Temu is no different. The main comparison I would say is that Temu is kind of like Shein meets Amazon. Like, they just have very cheap products, but they also have like a little bit of everything like Amazon has, so that's the vibe I get from Temu. Now, from a consumer standpoint, I think a lot of people look at these websites and they go, oh, these are super low prices. I want to shop from here because I'll be able to afford so much. But I think there are a lot of very problematic reasons that these companies are able to sell products for such low prices. And I want to talk about it because I think it's very important to understand what kind of companies you are supporting and be able to make good decisions about it. Now, before we get too much into this video, I do just want to say that when I was planning this video, I was actually originally planning on placing an order from Temu to really just be able to review the products from there and really see what the quality is like. However, I saw a TikTok about Temu recently where a woman talked about how she placed an order and then her credit card information was stolen.
It's been 1 week since I've ordered from Temu, and 48 hours ago, I found out that my credit card information has been stolen.
So yeah, that scared me away from ordering from Temu, so I did not order from Temu, and honestly, upon doing more research about Temu, I am incredibly glad I did not give them my money because it's not a company I want to support. Now, I do have family members who have purchased from Temu in the past, and they have seemed pretty happy with the purchases they have made from Temu because they've just purchased like super basic things like hair ties and stuff, basically just stuff that you wouldn't expect there to be super amazing high quality from. But I think when it comes to Temu, you are definitely going to get what you pay for, and when ordering from a place like that, you probably shouldn't have your expectations set too high because, when you're paying like $2 for a product, I don't know, I don't have a lot of faith in that being good. And I don't think you should either, you know? Now, for a lot of people, if you are looking for a very specific product and you don't have very much money to spend, it can be really easy to turn to websites like Temu or Shein because of your financial situation. And I definitely don't want to come across as if I am shaming anybody for that. Sometimes the cheap option is the only option you have, and I definitely understand it. I myself have shopped at Shein before to buy new clothing because I needed new clothes, but I didn't have a lot of options to go elsewhere because of my financials. So sometimes it's really the only option that can work for you. But even that being said, I do think that if you are going to purchase from websites like this, you should at the very least be aware of the ethics involved with these kinds of websites, because I do think it's important to just be aware of what you're supporting. Now, these super low prices that we see on Temu are actually a huge red flag for a massive problem that we see at a lot of other companies who charge these super low prices for products. And this red flag is basically that there is a huge chance that a lot of the people who are producing and shipping these packages are severely underpaid. And that in itself is even an understatement, because there can be a lot of mistreatment happening to these employees. Now, Temu claims that it is based out of Boston. However, Temu is actually owned by another company that is based out of China, and then most of the products on Temu are produced and then shipped to the consumer directly from China. Now, in an article from the ethos.co, it mentions how in this past June of 2023, 2 months ago, there was a congressional report in the United States that claimed there is an extremely high risk that products on Temu are being produced with forced labor. The report, compiled by the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, also looked at fast fashion giant Shein and also has investigations into Nike and Adidas. Temu also doesn't have any specific policy against goods being made in Xinjiang, where according to the US government, there is evidence to suggest that forced labor is taking place. Temu is doing next to nothing to keep its supply chains from being free from slave labor, said Congressman Mike Gallagher. So basically, things are not looking too good for Temu, but given the fact that their prices are so incredibly low, I'm really not surprised that this is the kind of thing we are seeing coming from them. This article does also go on to talk about how Shein has been linked to exploiting their workers by only giving them 1 day off work a month and making them work up to 3 shifts a day, which is just horrendous. It really is. After doing more research into the ethics of ordering from websites like Temu, it did make me very glad that I did decide against ordering from Temu to be able to review their products, just because it is definitely not the type of business practice I want to be supporting and giving them my money. That being said, I do have to acknowledge that I have ordered from Shein in the past and bought their clothes, and even made a YouTube video about ordering clothes from them, but just be sure that I will not be ordering from Shein again, and I will definitely not be placing an order from Temu anytime soon. Now, all that being said, I do have to say that even looking beyond websites like Temu and Shein and Wish, it can be very hard in general to make sure that you are only purchasing products from websites where the products are produced ethically, because sometimes you just never really know. Like I mentioned earlier, the article from the ethos.co mentioned how both Nike and Adidas have also been under investigation for potential forced labor or really unfair working conditions, and both Nike and Adidas are not super cheap companies. In fact, Nike especially can have very expensive products. Realistically, we are just never gonna know if the products we purchase are produced ethically or not, but when it comes to a website like Temu, we do have pretty good evidence that Temu and the other websites similar to it don't really use ethical production. And because of that, I am choosing that it is not somewhere I want to put my money into. I will not be ordering from them because I don't support it. And I think you should, take a look at it, do your own research, and also make that decision about whether it's something you want to support or not. Because I know for me, it is definitely not something I want to support. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, a lot of the products are just cheap junk anyways, and it's really probably not worth your money in the first place. Now, like I did mention earlier in this video, I do just want to say again that I'm absolutely not trying to shame anybody from ordering from Temu or similar websites. I get it, the world is so expensive. Prices on everything keep rising, especially when it comes to food and groceries. So if Temu is the only place you can afford to buy things from, I get it. But those of us who have the finances to put our money elsewhere, we should definitely, you know, just be aware and make good choices about what we are supporting. Now, one of the really big problems with Temu and Shein and these similar websites is not the people who can't afford to purchase products elsewhere, but the problem is the people who go to these websites purely to order massive quantities of products to just either have huge quantities of things they don't need or to film hauls for social media. Because like I mentioned at the beginning of this website, Temu has really gone all in on partnering with content creators and influencers to do massive hauls to try to convince other people that they need to buy massive amounts of things from these websites. And when people go and they buy these huge hauls of junk, it just ends up in the trash most of the time. People who do a lot of these huge hauls on social media are really able to grow huge followings doing these hauls, which incentivizes them to make more orders from really cheap websites, to do the hauls, to make a bigger following and make money. And it's just a really problematic cycle that just produces so much trash. There's no way that that product is actually being put to good use and that they're taking care of it. It just ends up in a landfill. Now, something else that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video is how Shein uses games on their mobile app to incentivize people getting referrals to bring more people to the app. And basically how this works is the app, which is a store, has games on it. And the games promise you free products or coupons if you win the games. Now, I've never played these games for myself, but from what I've heard, basically to win these games, it is easier if you refer more people to the app. Okay, I had to take a short break there. My battery died and my card was full, but we are back. The way that you can really make progress and win these mobile games is by referring other users to the app. And therefore, by referring other users to the app, you benefit by getting free products or coupons, which I don't love. I'm not a big fan. I think for Temu, it's probably definitely worth it because they only have to give you really products that are only worth a couple of dollars. And in turn, they're getting new customers to the app and to the website who will probably spend more than a couple of dollars when they end up making purchases. So it's probably definitely worth it for Temu to use this like weird marketing method of giving you free product in exchange for referrals, but it does seem very pyramid scheme-esque, or at the very, very least, like an MLM. What is it called? Multi-level marketing, that's what it is. But yeah, don't love it. Another thing about Temu that seems kind of sketchy is that when you actually go on their website and look at the products they have listed, every single item is on sale. I'm not kidding. When you look at the price of every single item, it is a sale markdown price. There is another price beside its current price showing you how much the product is marked down, which will therefore make you feel like you're getting a better deal on the product than you really are, when in reality they were probably never charging the original price to begin with and it was always this sale price. Once again, it's just a marketing tactic to get people to buy more things, because when you think you're getting a good deal on something, you're more likely to buy it. In the end, I do just want to note one more time that I'm not at all trying to shame people from ordering from places like Temu and Shein. Sometimes you just don't have the options to order elsewhere, but even if you don't have those options to order elsewhere, I do think it's very important to just be aware of what kind of business practices you are supporting. And once again, I do have to acknowledge one more time to close out the video that you never really have a for sure way of knowing if the businesses you are supporting and giving your money do use these shady business tactics. But when it comes to a case like Temu, you know, there's definitely evidence that there is some very unethical business practices happening and that people are being exploited. And so, at least for me personally, this is not a business I'm going to be giving my money to. And I just think it's something that everybody should be aware of when it comes to buying from these stores that have incredibly low prices. So in the end, I will not be supporting Temu and making purchases from them, but it is up to you to make your own purchasing decisions and decide where you want your money to go to or what you need your money to go to. It is fully up to you, but I just think it is very important to just be aware of these issues to be able to really make informed purchasing decisions. So all of that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you were able to take something away from it. And if you have any other topics you want me to cover going forward, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I do have quite a list of my own topics I want to cover going forward, but I'm definitely open to suggestions. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.